Hello, good afternoon. Good afternoon. It is 2:30 here. 2:30. God, where's the time going? Anyway, you'll probably get fed up with me at the end of the day, but there you go. Okay, we got Yasmin Lewis on today. Oh, yeah. And we should be talking about planets and readings and, oh gosh. I'll probably even ask her about my. Here we go.
Hello.
I know you're always late, isn't it? Always late.
No, I'm not. I'm just getting into the link. I was sitting here.
All right, okay, okay. You know what these wonderful ladies do. They brush their hair, put their makeup on. Anyway.
I was just finishing. I was just finishing work. I just had to take one breather, and then I'm on with you now.
Oh, thank you. Um, tell me a bit about tell everybody about yourself first. Then I'll go into the questions what people sent me.
Okay, are we live now?
Yes, we are. Yeah.
Okay. Well, hello, Steve. Hello, everyone. Tell me a little bit about me. I'll tell you a little bit about me. Well, I am 70 years of age, and I feel very privileged that I've lived this long in good health. I can't say the same about many people around me, and that's sometimes harder than other people are unwell than oneself. And so, an interesting life. I've been a professional astrologer, timing advisor for 43 years now, and I love my work. It's my best friend because since I was a little girl, I always wanted to help people.
Beautiful. Really good.
So, and I know that sounds rather idealistic, but I really have, and I can feel the pain of other people. One thing I really detest is bullying of any kind. I don't mind a bit of gentle teasing, but bullying is something very, very different, which I did
Yeah.
experience when I was young. And I'd like to think that I've helped people to cope with that, if you like, overcome it through my work. So
Great. Brilliant.
yeah, that's me.
Brilliant. Because I just think you're wonderful, and it was nice meeting you when you came down to Devon the
Oh,
other
yes.
3 weeks ago. And you've got some fans here now, and
Oh,
so I don't know how we're going to keep them under control next time when you turn up. Um, you know, Joan, poor old Joan, and yeah. So anyway, but timing consultant,
mm,
explain.
right. Well, everything is about timing. I think you'll agree on that one. You can't do everything at once. It's like in a play, a drama. Very rarely are all actors on stage at one go, usually just at the end. And timing, of course, changes when we finish our own play of life and we move on. So I do believe in an afterlife. But whilst we're here in 3D form, with Einstein's idea of time and space, that we have to kind of, I think, get a good relationship with our inner timekeepers. Ideally, we should be able to do that for ourselves, to trust our inner timekeepers. But the outside world, my goodness, it interferes so very, very much. And our own self doubts. I always think of impulsiveness when we jump into something. It's quite different to spontaneity. Because I think spontaneity, it's seizing that moment you're ready. It feels right. Whereas impulsiveness, we tend to sometimes have been fearful of saying something, doing something, and perhaps other people are pushing us into something, and we react, and that can be off kilter. So, how do we get in touch with these inner timekeepers? Well, one way I suggest is taking time out for oneself. You've heard me say this before, Steve, but
Yes, yeah.
about pausing. It's only the brain that doesn't pause. And the body will pause if we don't give ourselves time for rest, for recreation. And everything else in life works with pausing. Music, dance, nature, the cosmos. Everything has cycles. So I think it's a very important thing to remind ourselves and each other of that, to know when the well is empty and needs to fill up again, to take time for us. The world will, the world really will get on without us. I've come across so many stories of people who say, oh, no, I need to do all this, and my family can't cope without me even tying their shoelaces. And then something happens to them. Maybe they break a leg or something, or uncle Ned's sort of literally in a chair for a while, or they slip a disc and maybe they're in bed for a while. And they actually find that people around them can cope, even little ones. And they learn. Isn't that wonderful that we have that opportunity to allow them to grow? And ideally, we really shouldn't have to be in a position of being incapacitated for this to happen. So with my work, and realizing that many people aren't listening to these inner timekeepers, I work with a person's birth chart, the time they're born, the full date that they're born, and the place they're born. And it's like the core coordinates. And from that moment of birth, cycles are set into motion. And it's a language. It's a language. And these are cycles. Nothing is cast in stone. I hammer on about this a great deal, that nothing is foretold, nothing is predicted in that sense, unless we make it so. In other words, we stick so much with our comfort zones, our habits, that things keep repeating. It's a kind of resonance. I often mention to people to work with the moon cycles. Yesterday, we had a new moon in the early hours, I think about 3 o'clock in the morning, British summertime. And we obviously were asleep then, or ideally asleep in England. But new moons are literally, as they suggest, new. The word moon in the old days, it was spelled M-O-O-O-N. It meant linked with month. The word moon is linked with month, it's linked with mother, it's linked with matter. And the moon is our nearest neighbour, and it does affect us with our tides. The fluid level of the body increases at a full moon, not the new moon. There's a little bit more weight on us. The sap in trees is greater, so when they're cut, they can damage the wood, the sap, and the wood is less valuable. And to this day, those trees, the big ones, the redwood ones, are marked with the phase of the moon in terms of their value, monetary value, which is an interesting thought. And I've talked with surgeons who really aren't comfortable operating at a full moon. Yes, we survive it, but hemorrhaging can be greater. And there's usually more stress in the emergency departments as well, A&E. This is well known. But for ourselves personally, understanding those cycles, we can check the new moon anytime from an ephemeris, almanac, and the newspaper. And at those new moon times, and today's the day after the new moon, it's a lovely opportunity to reflect, to plant some seeds. Literally, maybe. It's not quite the right time of year for planting seeds, but planting seeds within ourselves of ideas, of intents, of projects. And then as the month goes on, we can start to see them come to fruition. It's a lovely way of doing that, not to rush. Again, not rushing the time of the new moon. And of course, in 2 weeks' time, we'll get the full moon when we can bring it into the light of day, or night, so to speak, and make it more either public or more commitment, more manifestation of what it is that we want. So we are part of nature, our bodies. Our souls are from elsewhere, but our bodies are from nature. The word natal means nature. And cooperating with the cycles. If we have difficulty, just look at nature at work. Look at the movement of the moon in the sky during the month, and when it disappears from view, when it's back again. Remember to breathe with it all. And I'm a great believer, I'm sure you are too, Steve, about the power of breathing. When we're stressed, when we're expecting something big, or in shock, we forget to breathe, or we breathe badly. So breathing, literally breathing in, we wouldn't live if we didn't have our first breath, would we? When we pass on, when we die, we stop breathing. So what's our inspiration to inspire of when we breathe? What do we breathe in? Can we breathe into our energy fields, our bodies, good intents, positive affirmations? I do that each day. I set an intent for the day and a wish for humankind, for my loved ones, for myself. And it just comes into my mind a word for the day. Today I got compassion.
All right.
And I send it out. I visualize the planet. You don't have to take long over this. I'm not a great believer in sitting for hours over this, or to have time, but also to put it into my own energy field, which some people call the aura, the energy field that holds us together. And this breathing into it with those words can be really powerful when we set about our day. So I think that is timing. What do you think,
Right.
Steve?
Oh yeah, yeah. As you know, with astrology, I kind of like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, to me, I find it, exciting to know about. I haven't looked into it what it's supposed to. I have got a belief, in God and everything. So yeah, yeah, I believe, in what you say, but I just don't believe on the other side of it, with all the tarot cards and stuff like that.
I'm sorry, can you say that last bit again? You don't believe in?
I don't believe in the tarot cards, the
Oh,
tarot cards.
those are interesting. The tarot, I think it means the Royal Road or something. It's very, very old, and they're pictorial images. And I think when they're used properly, they are images in our own inner world. They are portals, if you like, for understanding where we are in time, and what we can work with. It again, even more than astrology, it's been linked with fortune telling, which I'm very much averse to. And when
Right.
people see a death card and say, oh, somebody's going to die, it can literally mean perhaps that you're going to go through a transformation in your own life, let go of something that's overdue, transform a part of you, It's much more positive.
Ah,
But
right.
no, it's not
Okay.
something I'm attuned to. I love the messages we get. The planets were called God's Wanderers, the messages, meaning not what will happen, but what we can become aware of within ourselves, and an understanding of the troughs and the peaks. We all got them. And don't we often, Steve, go running on empty? We think, oh, I'll just put that bit more energy into something, and we wonder why we get ill or overtired.
We
And
certainly do, don't we?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, we certainly do. With your kind of like in what you do with the timings and stuff. So if a client comes to you and says, right, I need some help, about the
Yeah.
timings and everything else, what tell us about the procedure, what you do,
Mm,
the plan.
the plan. Well, we have an initiatory sort of chat. Why they want to come? Are they being given it as a present? Are they just curious? Are they at a crossroads? Is it something they've always wanted to have done? And to understand, just to get a new perspective on themselves. Because I always see the chart as yourself based on that moment of birth. It is you. And after that, it's up to you how you grow with it, change, and bring out the strong points of it, the talents, the reason why you're here on Earth, if you like, which I think is to be of service, as well as to enjoy the planet, which we often overlook, or many of us do who are servers. And I ask them for their time of birth if they know it, time on the clock, the full date of birth, including the year, and the place of birth, what I call the core coordinates. And then nowadays I get on the computer and I've got my astrology program and I clock that in, then I calculate it, and you get a chart which contains thousands of variables, and you've got where all the planets are, their angles to one another. And then it's a language, like many languages. I learned it, and I learned how to interpret it. And I link it in very much with psychology, the psyche of the individual, the link with the family line. I, I've done an interesting couple of readings today where we talk very much about the family line, the link with this lady and the other lady's mother, the patterns that she's carrying from the past. And as I said earlier, I believe our souls are from elsewhere, but our body is from nature, from our family line. And therefore we carry these things. And I like to feel that I can help people to be above that, beyond that we are more than that. And what are we carrying for other people? And who are we really? What is our soul? That's how I work. And we have about 90 minutes and cover all sorts of ground. And then we look at the present and ongoing cycles, the troughs and the peaks. And if they've got changes coming up. I get them to look at it, the changes, what do they really want, and see whether that's timely. Should it be perhaps this month or next year, in terms of the rhythm of it all, the rhythm. Because one lady
Right.
today
Okay.
was very keen to move to Cornwall or Scotland. Well, I can't tell her on that one, but I can just say, well, timing is everything. And I sort of felt with the chart that it would be better in the late winter, early spring, and that's what she'd felt, because often the information you have within yourself anyway, you know it, and I'm just kind of bringing it alive into
Yeah.
focus.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Really, really good. Um,
Thank you.
I like what you do. I like what you do, and the other day I was listening to your DVD, CD, sorry,
Oh, the CD,
and
yes.
yeah, oh, isn't that Carmen? Isn't that really, really Carmen?
My voice on a good day.
Well, you got this is it. This is it. When you start talking and speaking and everything, at
Ah,
first I thought she's a bit posh, isn't she? But
oh,
when I
please.
kind of,
Come on.
but when I kind of like now I've got to know you a little bit more.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, well, no, she's not posh. It's the way she comes over, and you come over. You do. You come over like so intelligent and
Oh,
calming. You know.
okay. Well, let me tell you something. Let me suggest something, Steve. I think we're often very different on the inside to the outside. And it's lovely in life because I believe in growth that the two can come together more. So there's not such a big disparity between the inner world and how we're projecting. I walked out of my A levels at school. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't pass my 11 plus in those days. I was a dunce at maths, and I don't know how I learned all the calculations to do an astrology chart before there were computers. But you've heard me say this before: where there's a will, there's a way. Yeah, and I really persevered. And I'm very shy. I did do. My parents had very little money, but I did do elocution because I had a few speech faults. Got a lisp, and I used to say wabbit rather than rabbit. Anyway, I did elocution, and I went on to do drama. And because we travelled around a lot, I never really picked up an accent either. So I think my diction's pretty good, but I'm certainly not posh. I was brought up with very simple values in my family. Nothing snobby about
I
us.
I just no, no, no. I no. This is what I thought. I did. I just
Yeah,
think, I
yeah.
don't, and I thought, no, she's not. And I just kind of like, I was thinking, oh no, no, I've got to watch my P and Qs here. You know
Oh,
what I mean?
Steve.
No, no. But I'm just a straight person. I say it as it is.
Yeah,
But
I
no,
know. You'd put me in my place, wouldn't you?
no, no, I wouldn't do that. You're such a lovely person,
Thank
and
you.
that's it. Um, with the work you do when you're opening people, do you get sometimes when people come along and they're feeling really down, depressed,
Mm,
life seems to be kind of not going on, it seems to
yeah.
be stale. Do you get people
Hmm.
like that?
Oh, yeah. And I get like that as well. I do find when I'm working, I'm at my best. You get out of your own way. I love that expression. Yeah. Out of your own way. And something else starts to happen. There is kind of inner guidance. And to me, that's important. So I do think we all, whether we're earning money or not, need to have some project, something we believe in. And I think the Buddhists talk like this, when we forget ourselves and we help somebody else, we feel better.
Yeah,
That's a side
yeah.
effect, but it's true. Yeah. No, I do get people. And when I feel like I'm not, although people think of me as a natural psychologist, I'm not trained that way. And if I feel somebody else can help them better than I can, I will refer them.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's
Yeah.
very important. I let them talk. I just let them talk. And sometimes just things that come up by reading the birth chart, it says, oh, yeah, they get that. It's a kind of eureka moment. And then that clears the air sometimes for them, gives them more confidence as well. Because and life
Gosh.
really condition us. And I compare it to actors who've got stage fright. They don't come on and some other actor plays a part for them. And we have that in our own lives. We feel we're not good enough at something. We've been hurt, criticized, laughed at. And we think, oh, I'm not going to use that part of me again, whatever it may be. And there may be very talented areas. So if I can see that in a chart that it gives them encouragement to have a go, if you like. Maybe to give up that awful job they're just draining them completely, or whatever it may be. And I find with feedback I get later on that that's usually worked out for the best for them.
Yeah, yeah. With your book,
Mm,
can we talk about your book a bit?
of course.
Wow, what a read that was.
Oh, thank you.
Um, the when you kind of started writing the book,
Yeah.
what was your main kind of like? What was you thinking about? Were you kind of like people say they're in the moment when they start writing? Were you in the moment?
I had a deadline, and I work very well with deadlines. You joked about being late. I'm very rarely late, maybe a minute, which is acceptable, but I'm very rarely late. And I don't, if somebody, I like commitment, it gives me a structure, although I'm a
Yeah,
free spirit. And I think if I'm told and I commit to it, yes, I'll do that at a certain time, I will do it, short of, some emergency. And I've been host on something called Radio Works World, and they were a publishing company, and I still do some work for them. And I was giving talks about timing, and then the lady who ran the show, the publisher, said, "Would you like to make this into a book? We'll do that for you." So basically, downloaded the whole thing, but it's more or less intelligible. How you speak and how it's written. It's you know predictive text, I think they call it. So I just thought, oh, well, I've got it all sitting there. I'm not going to use it. And then I had a few weeks in which to write it, and I did it. I did do a second edition, which I think you've got, Steve, which is better.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It just flowed, it really flowed. And I'm quite a kind of sort of person living on my own where I can sweat the small stuff a bit. And, I just let the place go to rack and ruin. I had scrolled up pieces of paper all over the kitchen floor and my notes. And I loved all this, like being a kid again. and because I'm a night owl, I did it at night. And then it came together. And I feel I wanted to make something really simple out of all my experience. And I'm sure you'll agree with me, and your listeners will agree, that when you really know a subject, you can make it simple. You can use analogy as well, very well. And that means you know your subject. And people say it makes them happy. I have no idea why. But above all, I was trying to look at our inner timekeepers and how they connect with nature, our bodies, music, the planets, of course, and
Yeah.
trusting our intuition. So,
Also, also
yeah,
what I want to talk about is like you've been to some nice places. You've been to New York,
yeah,
Dubai, you
yeah.
know, Europe and everything. What was that like?
Well, the world was a different place. You remember my great age now, of 70. I saw the world before 9/11, a great deal with traveling. When I lived in America for a while, and I think I've talked about my story there, looking after a quadriplegic man. When I left, I remember, I remember leaving about 4 suitcases. No extra cost, economy. And my best girlfriend there at the time, who sadly died the week I got married a few months later. We were very close, but she walked me on the plane. We both had a glass of wine. We were having in, departure. She could come through with me, and she walked me on the plane up to the door with a glass of wine. Now that's how the world was. Okay,
You can't
but
do
no,
that now.
no, oh Lord, no, no, everything changed, and airports aren't very nice places to be. But no, I was invited through people generally to do readings and sometimes to give talks, and I had a love-hate relationship with Dubai, very, very superficial. The national bird is the crane, as in the machinery crane. Yeah, they're always erecting buildings. You like that? But you know what, Steve? My favourite place ever was Oman, just nearby to Dubai. It was beautiful. I felt I'd come home. I think I wrote an article once on, I think it's on my website, called There's a Place for Us. And places like people we're drawn to, we love, we're indifferent to, we hate even. And I compare it to say, you might meet a beautiful woman or a very handsome man. And yeah, that's nice looking, but it doesn't do anything for you. There's no chemistry. It doesn't have to be about the appearance.
Yeah.
So, Oman, I did works or clients. America, I've done a lot of work in, and Scandinavia is close to my heart as well. I used to do astrology workshops and big schoolhouses out in the woods, and we used to bring the birth chart alive to act out the planets and the stories, and that was quite healing for them as well. Very, very difficult to describe, but it really, really worked. And my clients usually invited me, sometimes organizations. Um, I nearly went to Moscow. They'd had a graphologist there at the university, and I'd done a birth chart reading for a professor there, and his English was very limited, but he really, enjoyed, if that's a good word to use, but found the information useful. And he said, right, we can get you over here. Do you want to do a conference, like a seminar or readings? I thought, oh, seminar, please, because readings can be incredibly draining and tiring. And when you go to a place, you're going to do quite a lot of them. But anyway, and my visa was going to be paid, plane fare. And then the government clamped down on it. They'd had the graphologist, that went well, but they decided no alternative subjects at the university. And that was that. So I never went to Russia. I don't think I want to go at the moment.
No, you don't. No, no,
No, I love
no.
traveling with my work. It's given me an opportunity to stay with people, to see places, rather than, say, if I could even afford it, go and stay in a hotel, a package holiday, or, like business people do, and they're put up at a place, they do their work and they leave again. I got to know the people and the landscape, and I'm so, so grateful. So
Are you a
grateful.
people? Are you a people's person?
I'm actually an introvert. And the definition of an introvert is you can, like me, chatter on. I can socialize. I can give a talk. But I find after a while being around people, I get very drained. I have to go and be on my own. Whereas an extrovert can never feel that. They can work a room, whatever. So, I love people, but it can be exhausting. And I've got lovely friends, Steve, lovely friends. And I'm lucky to have a very good family as well, though my parents have passed on. But I've got 2 sisters and cousins, and yeah. And I do like people. And I like to help them, and they like to help me. And when you haven't got it, like I'm not married with children, I think it's really good to have a support system around like that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I tell you what. All I can say is this: that when you went to the group a couple of weeks ago,
Oh, yeah.
everybody,
Yeah,
everybody, everybody loved you, and
oh, they were
they
lovely
were.
too, Steve.
Yeah, yeah,
And I'm sorry about Len.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So am I.
Yeah, no.
But I tell you what, I'm looking forward to it to seeing you again.
Yes, next Wednesday.
Yeah, yeah.
Yay.
So it'll be good. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I love doing this. I'm very privileged, really, and to know people are enjoying this. And they can always ask me questions, in the chat. So,
Yeah, what we're gonna do next time, I think,
ah,
but I'll talk about it next time.
mm,
Is what we're going to. When you come down next Wednesday,
aha.
I'm gonna get you to do a video.
Oh,
Uh, right,
aha.
if you can do, if you can do, give me about
Oh, yeah.
10
I've done
minutes of your
videos.
time. Then what we'll do is I'm going to then put it onto our website. Then
Hmm.
people can contact me the next time you're on,
Yeah.
and we can answer, get them to questions and stuff like that. All right?
Yeah. Oh, I'd love to, Steve, because I think this is such a big subject. And I try and make it simple, as you can tell. But I think I don't mind left field questions, out of the box questions. If I can't answer them, I can't. That's fine as well.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
find that with a public audience, I just say, I'm sorry, I don't know that. Does somebody else know in the audience? And somebody does, of course, and they love that.
yeah. I know, I know.
It's okay to do that. It's fine, not to try and cover that up. But I love my subject. I'm learning about it all the time. To me, it's a way of looking at life, a beautiful way of looking at life when it's used wisely. And yeah, and it's an exploration. And I think at heart, we're all explorers. Well, we not say should be, but we must stay young in a way by having curiosity and exploring. That keeps us young.
It certainly does. That's Thank you very much. Thank
My
you very
pleasure,
much for
Steve.
joining me. Thank you.
Thank you.